What is up? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks for being here, being subbed. If you're not, hit that button. And while you're at it, hit that like. It's like walking in the room and hitting that light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into the real of reality TV. So, look, it's been a minute and I'm just going to get into it. And I got a whole lot more that I want to say. So, I'm going to be coming back with more content. But I want to get started talking about Dr. Damon and Dr. Gregory. Married to Medicine reunion. I watched it on Monday morning and it really had me heated. I was I was so freaking heated and it took everything in me to not just hit my button and go live. And for those of you who know me, who've been over here for a minute, you know that's not what I even do. But I really wanted to get some crap off of my chest when it comes to the BS that was coming out of Dr. Damon's mouth. But I want to share my screen. Okay. I'm not going to I'm not going to share the video. Well, let me try it because Bravo be on something sometimes when it comes to these clips. So let me try it. And this is for fair use for the purposes of commentary and criticism and entertainment purposes only. I am not claiming that this content is mine. So let me share my screen. All right. So first, I want to share this. And this is from Dr. G.
Got mad and you got in your feelings and you said, I'm not going to see your patients anymore.
I'm going to mute it just for the purposes because I don't want no BS. But Dr. G, he shared a screenshot, a text message that he sent to Dr. Damon, letting him know that he wasn't going to be seeing any of his patients moving forward. Now, this part bothers me because I'm like, come on, Dr. G, really? Because you already got the trolls and the quad squad and the quad groupies who are just going to say everything that you say and do is the devil. And now they're going to come for your education because instead of typing patients, it's patience. And I get it. Sometimes autocorrect will step in. And if you're in a hurry and you're upset or whatever, and you just want to get the message out, you're not looking at, and it wasn't a typo, it was just the wrong word that was used. But he sent him a text and said, I just saw your wife's post. It was very bizarre and malicious at the same time. I am not going to be seeing any more of your patients going forward. So Dr. Damon lied. He lied when he said that Dr. G did not reach out to him.
Because you can't stand up as a man and just say when you're wrong. If you're doing something out of spite, just say it. Don't hide behind, they were too hard
my
for
whole
me.
problem. You don't know anything
You were
about my
taking them for
practice over
years
there,
and all of a
Damon.
sudden they
Why
got
would I not see
complicated.
patients out of spite? I'm
'Cause
above
that's
that,
you.
sir.
He's such a bitch. Oh my God. That is a Now you gotta say that was childish.
No, you're the bitch, Dr. Heavenly. Listen, I cannot stand this chick. I actually have tried to be neutral on her, and I've even said that there have been times where she said things that I laughed at, even if it wasn't very appropriate. Like I said, the your mama thing, I explained that in previous commentary. So if you haven't heard my commentary on that, I talked about that before. It wasn't because it was funny. It's similar to hearing a child that's learning to speak use profanity. It's not funny, but out of shock, you kind of laugh because it's like, I can't believe this child said F you, because it's not appropriate. This woman, I'm assuming she's in her 50s. She has to be, saying your mama to people over and over again, or it's just ridiculous. It's not funny, but just kind of out of shock, you laugh. But for her to call somebody a bitch ass nigga is what she said, but yet you call this man a pedo fillet is outrageous. And the fact that this clown cannot check this clown on her saying some stuff like that. He got upset with Dr. G because Dr. G said something that was true when he was asking him about, do you think I'm a cheater? Do you think I cheat? And Dr. G responded honestly and said, I don't know what you would do. That's the truth. Because it's like, I'm not on your DICK 24 hours a day. How do I know what you're doing when you're not around your wife, when you're not around me? And I really don't even care. I mean, Dr. G could have just said, look, I don't care what you do. It's none of my business. But he was honest with him. He's like, I don't know what you would do. So he's holding a grudge with him because he would not defend his character to just stand up and say, I don't believe this man would ever cheat on his wife. Because he's a man of integrity and character and standards and substance. Like, what the hell is he talking about? Who freaking cares if you cheat on your wife except her? And I mean, honestly, I don't even think she really cares. But I'm going to talk about that in another video.
That's a bitch move there. That man needs to go. He has to go. Baby,
you hear that? This man needs to go. The nerve of her talking about somebody needs to go. And Letitia sitting there trying to be quiet, taking it in, taking it on the chin, when she really doesn't have to, when it's just like, are you kidding me right now? And he knew the truth. He knew that Dr. G had reached out to him to let him know, I don't stand for what your wife said about me. So look, for those reasons, I'm just not going to move forward and see any of your patients. And who freaking cares? If it's out of spite or not. It's letting you know. It's letting you know I'm not going to be seeing any of your patients moving forward because of what your wife did. So don't sit here and say it's about the patients, because if it was about the patients, Dr. Heavenly would have left Dr. G's name out of her big effing mouth, which is what Dr. G said to Quad, because Quad is a freaking liar. And, along with Dr. Heavenly saying that Dr. G said to Quad, shut the F up. And he did not say that. They are liars.
a man disrespecting himself.
Listen, be quiet. Can I be like,
I'm sorry, but it's the truth,
listen,
teacher, and you got to be able to receive it.
No, you just need to be quiet.
I don't, teacher.
Okay.
Not mad.
So all of this, if you guys don't get it, all of this was the setup to ice Letitia and Dr. G off of the show, and to be like, we brought you in, we'll take you out. And that is foul, because you feel like you've made up with Quad now you're back on it, and we're going to get these people off of the show. So we're going to put the accountability standards for these people and not for this a-hole.
And you got in your feelings and you said, I'm not going to see your patients anymore. That's childish.
No,
That's
more.
exactly what happened.
Okay, well, I guess you know exactly what happened.
Well, am I wrong?
You are very.
And just backtracking a little bit, yeah, Dr. Heavenly shared the screenshot, but Dr. Damon did lie, because he said that Dr. G did not reach out to him, and he did. And all of this BS that Dr. Heavenly does, she continues to litigate her cause on social media for the show. It really has taken the show to the gutter, and I'm just disgusted by it.
You're wrong. Like,
I'm
I stopped seeing those patients you're referring me because they were high maintenance patients, and that they had
I don't think so.
addiction.
Because it happened right when this thing happened.
And I actually believe Dr. G with that. They could say, well, this is a screenshot of him letting him know, I'm not going to see the patients anymore because of what your wife did. But also, let's be clear, because Dr. G said, those patients that you refer to me are high maintenance patients. So why would he give himself even more stress of dealing with high maintenance patients that this clown is referring to him, when his wife is saying terrible things about him not being respected in the medical community, him being a hashtag PEDO? Like, why would I give myself more stress and pressure of dealing with these high maintenance patients that you're referring to me, when I'm having to deal with BS that your wife is talking about me on social media, not to even mention the stuff that she's been saying about my wife.
You're lying. because you can't stand up as a man and just say when you're wrong. If you're doing something out of spite, just say it.
Child, it's
Be quiet.
I don't, Tisha.
Okay.
I think that's the problem in your household. Nobody is speaking except for him.
If you suddenly stop seeing referrals when you're in the midst of a disagreement, one could make that assumption.
1 + 1 = 2.
It's the truth.
King, shut the F up, because why is he even here? This is the thing that pisses me off about this show at this point. The show is called Married to Medicine. Quad is like married to medicine in the past, okay? And her boyfriend is not in the medical community. And then he's sitting there chiming in, and these fools are allowing him, like, look at this. Look at this. And who is he? Like King Jaffe from Coming to America with this freaking, like, who do you think you are? 1 + 1 = 2. No, when you pulled your shirt off and you were on the beach running towards him, charging towards him like a bull saying, I will F you up. That's 1 + 1 = 2. That you deserve every bit of spite for filing, whatever. I don't care. These people are ridiculous. They got upset with Dr. G for filing a complaint against him, but not getting upset with him for charging towards him saying, I will F you up over some words.
Seeing the type of patient that he was referring me took a whole lot more energy and took a whole lot more resources. It really did.
Well, what is the standard given your relationship? If you weren't in this situation, would you have hit him up and said, hey man, like, thanks for the referrals, but like, I don't have the bandwidth for
Absolutely
these patients?
would.
I mean, would
That's
that
exactly what I told him.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't.
Damon.
So here's the thing. She can share the screenshot all she wants, but that doesn't mean that that conversation was not had. That doesn't mean that he didn't say that to Dr. Damon. Because this is one portion of the text message. And I don't even need to share any more of this clip, guys, because here's the thing. Dr. Damon is, oh my God, he's trash. For all of these years, people have tried to make him out to be this upstanding individual because he doesn't yell, raise his voice. He can deal with Heavenly and her shenanigans. He speaks calmly and all of, this other stuff. But that doesn't mean, you know how many psychopaths speak calmly? I don't think people understand that. That means nothing. It really doesn't. Just because he puts up with Heavenly doesn't mean that he isn't a sneaky bastard that has been cheating on her. And listen, we really don't care. And I believe that he has been unfaithful. And when they brought that up at the end of the last reunion and they continue to talk about it at the beginning, Heavenly's all soft spoken, you believe that? But with all this other stuff, he's a bitch ass N-word and this, that, and the other. He needs to go. And girl, please. Goodbye. This show has gone into the gutter because, one, they have allowed this chick to become the leader of the pack. And even though they have Jackie at the beginning of the credits, she doesn't need to be on here anymore either. She's full of shit. I'm going to talk about her in another commentary because I don't want to make this one too long. But just because Heavenly shared this screenshot of a text message, which again was just one portion, it doesn't mean that he did not have the conversation with Dr. Damon to say, listen, the patients that you are referring to me, they're high maintenance. It's a lot more than I need to handle. And why would I exert extra effort to deal with those types of patients when you have your wife, maybe no, you can't control her, but you're not even standing up for me to say what she did was wrong. You're just like, why are you in your feelings and why are you so sensitive? She is trashing me and my practice on social media. So why would I continue to work with you? Like, no, it's bullcrap. And the mere fact that Dr. Damon is trying to make this into a thing of ethics and medical practice and the patients should come first or whatever. Hell no. Like, you have your wife trashing me and my practice on social media. Why would I continue to see those patients when you're not even standing up for my practice? So
And he said, based on that fact, I'm going to have to stop seeing your patients. I'm going to stop seeing your patients. Right. Black point blank period. So if he said anything differently, that's a brother tucking lie. Do we have any receipts?
She's trash. She is the problem. And then you have people that pay into this bullcrap, super chatting her, sending her money to be, a brown noser, ass kisser. Dr. Damon handled Greg very well. Damon and King are the epitome of Black King excellence. Girl, bye. And I'm assuming that's a female because I really don't think that would be a guy saying something like that.
Stephanie, do we have any receipts? I just want to know if we got them. Because my whole thing is my man don't be sitting up here lying. My man ain't just cheating, running his dick. Come on, y'all act like he Miss Lucy. Y'all been trying to tear this man down since the beginning of the time. You know why? Because of this.
Girl, please. You know your man is not perfect. And no, girl, please.
That's why I lose respect for people, because already you're talking to your wife crazy. We already know what you did to Quad. We already know.
See how full of shit she is? She's the problem. Because listen, she is going with this narrative. We already know what you did to Quad. All right. If you already knew, and that's why I don't believe this. They have tried to paint this narrative of Dr. Gregory being an ABUSER. Listen, I've said over and over again that I don't believe the man is the most sensitive person, but I also don't agree with that narrative that they're trying to paint on him. Because listen, if that were the case, I already talked about it over and over again. I'm not even going to continue to go down that road. But if that were the case, that he was so terrible and he was really like that, and they so-called already knew that about him, why in the world would they have brought him out? And I'm not saying they brought him like they had that type of power, but why would they continue to be around him? Why would they support him in his new relationship? Why would they court Letitia to become a part of this cast, knowing that he was going to be on here and knowing that he would be around Quad if he was beating the brakes off of Quad? That's a lie. It's not true. I don't care what anybody says. I don't believe that. And listen, as much as I can stand up for women, I can stand up for men too, because for me, it's not about just being on the side of women all the time. Right is right and wrong is wrong. And no woman, yes, there are women that cover and protect their, their partners when they're in relationships with them, and they don't want to mess up the household. They may be dependent on that person, all this other stuff. That has not been the case with Quad. Quad was the one that pulled the strings on that relationship, and she said, peace out. She wasn't screwing the man for the last 3 years of the marriage. A whole lot of other stuff they know that they're not really saying. Toya said a few things in the beginning, but no woman who chose to leave a marriage, leave a relationship, and she was getting her ass kicked by that man would want to congratulate him on his new relationship on social media, would go to that woman's bachelorette party, would see them at a function, go and greet the woman and ask if she could give that woman's new husband a hug if he was beating her ass. She would not want to be in the same room with him. So, because I didn't have a back and forth, but when I was in the chat on somebody else's channel and that was mentioned, And I said that I don't believe that story about Quad. I'm not saying that the relationship was the most loving and caring or whatever, but that was on both sides. That was on both sides. Not to sound like Donald Trump, there's fine people on both sides, but you know what I mean. But when someone responded and said, there are plenty of women that protect their partners when they are not being, treated well, I said that is very true, but that I don't believe was in this case and in this scenario, in this relationship, and in this situation. And Letitia and Dr. G may not have the best way of responding to these things and handling them, but still, I do not believe the narrative that they have tried to paint on Dr. G, because the whole goal this entire season has been to X them out so that they either, one, are not asked to come back, or they decide, you know what, this is too much and we're not coming back. We choose to bow out. That's what they wanted. All of this stuff was by design, because for whatever reason, well, I already talked about that before too. I almost forgot that I talked about it. I do believe that the reason that they decided to get Quad back in the fold and give her another chance and ice Dr. G and Letitia out was because the family member of Quad's that passed away, that drowned, and Quad tried to make that into a thing where she was crying all these dry tears on the last reunion. Look, Dr. Simone may not be my favorite, and she may not say a lot of things that I agree with, but I don't believe that she did anything wrong when she did say what she said on that last reunion. She was being honest, and Quad tried to make it into a, how dare you bring up my situation? I asked you not to talk about it. Dr. Simone was letting her know, look, I was trying to be there, and she gave the actual situation. If something like this happens, which it did, and I reached out, I'm going to reach out. And Quad's, girl, bye. This chick is so freaking fake when it comes to that stuff. Because listen, on this season, when they went to do the rodeo stuff or whatever that bullcrap was, Quad brings up the Napa trip and being asked to leave the Napa trip and how that broke her and she was left for dead and until she bled out on the side of the road or whatever. Did she mention anything about anyone speaking about her dead relative that she asked him not to speak about? No, because that was not the issue. That was not the issue. And look, I can't convince anybody that already is just down for Quad no matter what to agree with that, and that's fine. But I'm telling you guys, my spirit of discernment is extremely strong. I can discern those spirits, and this chick is not authentic. She's not. And she was more upset about being asked to leave that trip in Napa than she was upset about Simone briefly mentioning her reaching out to Quad when her family member died. And what was wrong with that? I mean, she didn't go into blow by blow details about who the relative was, her name, how she died, what time, what date, what hospital she was taken to, what time she passed. Like, it was ridiculous. All Simone said was, when her family member passed away, and I know I may not be saying the exact words, I know I'm not quoting it, verbatim, but when her family member passed away and I heard about it, I reached out. What was wrong with that? Again, I know a lot of people don't like Simone, but what was wrong with her saying that? There was nothing wrong with what she said. Simone wasn't wrong. She wasn't. Quad tried to make that into a thing, and she used that. She used that to play on their emotions to say, you know what? We've done some effed up S, and now we need to make right on it. Quad didn't deserve that, which again, it was not that big of a deal. Sorry, she lost her family member. I'm not saying her losing her family member was not a big deal, but what I'm saying is what Simone said was not that big of a deal. She actually was being honest and saying, And that's why Simone went off this season when she said Quad has been giving us her ass to kiss for years. And I'm going to talk about that separately. I'm not going to go into that right now. But listen, Dr. Damon is trash. Heavenly is the problem. And they have allowed Quad to play on their emotions to ice Dr. G and Letitia out this season. So all of this stuff that they've been doing and people falling for the okie doke is sad. But listen, that's the times that we're living in. The Bible even says it. We're going to be in a time when people call wrong right and call right wrong. And that's the times that we're living in. I mean, hell, look at the freaking president that we have right now. Right is wrong and wrong is right. But anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for being here, liking, and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.